Hi, hello everybody. You can type whatever you feel like asking. You put it in the chat box, or you can unmute, and communicate yourself.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, sir. I'm Rajiv Mishra from Mumbai.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, right now, which technique you are using? Because I saw it like you were able to use your action and you were able to also present your screen as well as your PowerPoint. It was just like live classroom in front of the student. You were able to express all those things. So, may I know the technique like which you are using, sir?
All right, thank you. But Rajiv, I'm sure that I can do better if you put me in front of a bunch of students.
Yes, sir. Again, sir, you will do excellent, sir, and wonderful, sir. But still, on this online also, sir, you are able to do amazing. We are only able to sit and show our face, and we are able to talk, or we are able to share our PowerPoint presentation, but not able to do action. As you said, sir, even I am very much capable of making action in front of the students. Lots of actions I have to, but on this online platform, I am restricting myself. I am not able to do that, sir.
Yeah, the physical mobility is an important element in communication, and when that is denied, we struggle really. That is the problem. We can somehow make do, somehow manage with the tools we have, the digital tools we have.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for the comment.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. Yes, a lot of you are around, and one of my former colleagues, Saumya, is here, I think. Yeah, Sangeeta has asked, handling a large number of students, like 100 students in a class effectively. Managing crowd, in a higher education classroom is a serious concern. And the kind of attention we should give to the learner, the kind of attention we should try to give every learner becomes impossible when you have a large number of students. Even when you try to run an activity, it becomes difficult because the classroom size could be a problem sometimes. There wouldn't be space enough to navigate the furniture and the students inside there. And the sheer size could be so intimidating for the teacher. In such situations, often we rely on lecture as a mode of education. We try to talk more and do less. But the tricks of communicative trade to handle that, one definitely is your competence in talking to them interactively. How good you are in spicing up your class with anecdotes, episodes, a bit of humor, some interaction. So if you can get the flow mixed up, it can work. But it calls for, I have felt that it requires very good communicative competence when you have such a large group. Otherwise, the large group should be housed in a much larger room, so you can easily break them down into smaller units, and you should have a lot of time also, so you can move around and maybe interact with them. Otherwise, it depends on the competence of what you can do in terms of language, in terms of, as I said, can you spice up your presentation, add some masala, but meaningful masala, contextually related, relevant masala, with which you can bring in the context into it, like the stories related to it, as I said, experiences, histories, case stories, scenarios, certain media reports, certain things from the movies, football, cricket, sometimes good for nothing politics. This all could be put into the cocktail, and you can make it interesting, but it's challenging. It's challenging. Language teachers know that they have often handled 100, 110, and 120. That's not the right way to improve the competence of English language use in the country, but they think that core subject can be taught to 30, 40 people, complementary can be taught to 60, 70 people, and language can be taught to limitless number of people. This is a funny proposition they put forward to. But I thought that if you are a good storyteller, if you can convert your lecture into a kind of a story format, mix it up in the right way, they would always listen to you. But everybody may not find it very easy to do. That's what I feel, Sangeeta. Don't know whether I have satisfied you. Others can also join if you have tips. Sunish.
Thank you, sir, for that comment.
Yeah.
But I feel it is really difficult to handle 100 students. Actually, what I teach is vegetable science, and there is a lot of limitation when you are talking about this. I don't know, probably I'm not experienced enough. That is why I'm feeling this, that we cannot add a lot of like storytelling or the other aspects. When you talk science, I think there's very little that you can. And mine is not a basic science also, so I don't know how to. At times I feel really difficult to communicate to 100 at a time. It's really I don't know.
Right, yeah, Sangeeta, to add to it, I think last year or the year before that, UGC has come up with some kind, I don't know, the UGC or some other bodies, they have come up with an award for PhD holders if you can tell, the story of your research in such a way that it would be interesting and appealing to people. Converting your research into a story, narrating your research kind of thing. So you're teaching vegetable science and all, and the challenge is, where do you find stories to connect to that? You may find it difficult, but I'm sure that there will be stories, and there are. Normally, you say statistics, stories, anecdotes, real life incidents, personal experiences, humor. All these things should be relevantly incorporated wherever possible into your session. So I'm sure Sangeeta will be able to do that. One math teacher once told me something like that. Math teacher told me that, sir, in mathematics it doesn't work. Okay, you can't have a lot of fun in mathematics. I had a school teacher in mathematics who was absolute fun and bubbling with energy in the whole classroom, running around, and it was real fun having him. You never thought maths could be such a fun, but he made it entertainment for all. Maybe all of us can't do that, but some of us can probably try to do that. And Dr. Sunish talks about difficulty of feeling 100% connected to students in online classes, especially dealing with freshers you have never met in person. Sunish, I absolutely agree with you, absolutely, because connecting to someone you have never met online, never met physically, and connecting only through online is a bit of a challenge, and sometimes maybe you can do it with certain experts, certain scholars, certain people you don't have to deal with every day. But if it is your student and you have to teach them for the next 3 years, 6 semesters, talking to them only through online, it gives you a very strange kind of a feeling. Very strange kind of a feeling. Maybe you can see the photograph or image, but you know that how far a photograph is a person. It's a different thing. So I completely agree with that, and I don't know whether much can be done about it, because social isolation has made it difficult for us to move around, thinking about meeting up your students somewhere else, asking a group of them to come here, another group to come there, kind of thing. But all these things are impossible. So it's an unenviable situation. The other day I was talking to a bunch of students who were being given induction online. And student induction online, it sounds like such a dull thing. The colors, the festoons, the celebration, the parents and students moving around in the campus, the freshness we borrow from them, everything. Hello? Can you hear?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. So the freshness we borrow from them, everything is impossible in an online induction kind of thing. Okay. Because Sangeeta was saying she can't hear anything, but others can. So I agree with Sunish that it's a very strange kind of a feel, and I don't know what kind of a solution I can prescribe for that. We are all in the same difficult boat, Sunish. Yes. Anything further? More comments or questions, anything? You can share anything you want, no problem. I mean, we won't be able to give all the answers, as I said, but it's nice to know the questions. If you feel like if questions are slowly coming in, we have an option. If you want, I have a frequently asked questions presentation. Do you want me to run certain slides of that?
What is it, sir?
It's certain frequently asked questions, regarding this classroom and communication.
Yes, sir.
It's a kind of question answer. Only question will be there on the slide, and answer, we will see what kind of answers we can have.
Apart from that, sir,
Yeah.
if you don't mind, probably you can share what kind of gear that you use, because it's very impressive. The quality of the video is really good, and the lightning that comes really above from your head, what you use, what camera you use, probably you can share it with us.
No, actually, this one I'm doing with my laptop camera. But the room I'm using is the media room, which is being set up at the college. We haven't finished it. The first big long trial I'm doing in that room right now. But I'm using my Dell laptop.
Okay.
Okay. I'm happy that the visuals are coming out fine.
Yeah, that's really good.
And Neeraj Kumar has spoken about many college university conduct webinar in count in career advancement scheme. I couldn't follow that question, Neeraj Kumar. Can somebody?
I can probably answer this.
Yeah.
Sir, I think Right, for CAS, because all these things, webinars are not approved by UGC.
Okay.
If it is a UGC sponsored webinar, probably it will be considered for a career advancement program.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you. Webinars, like, the colleges and university have completely gone nuts. Okay? They have gone kind of mad. And all the colleges and webinars are somehow under the impression that if they do not conduct webinars in hundreds, somebody will take them to the next tree and shoot them. That is why you have excessive number of webinars around. Okay. Webinars are fine, but if you have webinar every day for morning for tea and for lunch and for dinner, it becomes a bit unbearable. That is the problem. So I would say that we are all suffering from too much of webinars. That is one thing. And in such a short period of time, we have got slightly sick of that. Anyway, you have got your answer over there. Yes. I hope you can see my slide.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. These are some of the questions I can run through. One common question, people say that I struggle to find words. What can I do? This is a question related to fluency at one end, confidence elements at the other end. You know that only if you are a person who regularly uses language, you will have the competence to find the right word at the right time. It depends upon the amount of reading you do, and it depends upon the quantum of listening you do too. If you don't read and listen a lot of English or Malayalam, whatever, then it will be difficult for you to speak fluently and to find the right word. It has no connection with your mother tongue and all. For example, I am a person, I got completely educated in Malayalam medium right through my schools. I have never studied in an English medium school so far. But I did work hard on my language and improved my language skill. Plus, English came a bit, it was easy to learn for me somehow. So if you struggle to find words, one, I would always say that you have to increase your reading and listening. And when you increase your reading and listening, you have more language getting inside your system. You internalize a lot of words, and a lot of words creep into your active vocabulary. That would help you a lot. And a little bit of a struggle is not a problem. Only if you struggle very hard, it becomes a problem. A couple of weeks back, a student of mine rang me up and spoke to me about one webinar presentation I gave. And that young teacher told me that, sir, you are using many times. So you have to cut it down. I said, thank you, I'll cut it down. Using is not a very bad habit, because if you are very fluent and if you have the capacity to speak continuously without pause, and if you don't struggle to find your words, sometimes we can develop the habit of planting in between so that you would slow down. You slow down because your listener will be able to follow what you say. So it's not actual struggle, sometimes it is constructed struggle. You create such a struggle so that you can slow down and you will be comprehensible, slow enough to be comprehended by others. So I would say that keep reading and listening a lot, and it's not a bad idea to speak to yourself. I still do a lot of speaking to myself. Sometimes when I go on a drive, I do that. When I drive to college, I do that. After like 30 years of teaching, I still sometimes talk to myself regarding my presentations. Now, this is related to what I said earlier. I tend to speak fast. How can I slow down? Now, slowing down occasionally becomes a deliberate act, because some of us are naturally fast, fluent speakers. One thing you should do is, for example, repetition is one way of slowing down. For example, you say that there are 3 core principles of content development. 3. And I would talk about the first 2 of them now, and then I would go to the third one. So I'm pausing deliberately in certain places, repeating a word, repeating part of a sentence, and then moving on. This is one way in which you can slow down. Too much of a pace, too fast is an issue when people listen to you. Then some people use hesitation fillers, as I said, well, those kind of things. Hesitation fillers are all right in a way if you don't overuse it. When you overuse it, it catches everybody's attention, and people might maybe count only those hesitation fillers. The audience will take a statistic of how many you have spoken as part of your lecture. So repetition is one way, using certain hesitation fillers is another way, and being conscious about it and deliberately trying to speak is always good. This comes up often. I'm not confident about my pronunciation, so can you give me suggestions to improve? First thing is what I said earlier. Don't attach unnecessary value to pronunciation. Okay, everybody is not a stickler for pronunciation norms, and they wouldn't judge you completely and only on the basis of how you pronounce. That is one thing. Now, having said that, it's not a bad idea to try to improve your pronunciation. I agree with that. And when you are not a native speaker, I'm not a native speaker, most of us are not native speakers of English. We were not born into English. Okay. So when we try to improve our pronunciation, we often try to model ourselves on some other people, or model ourselves and try to put a bit of artificial effort on our part. And when you try to improve your pronunciation and accent, we go through a stage of pretension, in a sense. Deliberately you try to pronounce it like that. If you have a word like idea, you will pronounce it as idea. We put the stress on the second syllable and you put it as idea. Oh, that's an interesting idea. But you might think that it sounds a bit funny when you put like that. Or terrible, disaster, table, tiger. So you might think that, okay, this is not what I like doing. I feel a bit conscious about what I'm doing. But when you work on your pronunciation, this becomes necessary. You can take words, certain very commonly, take a list of 200 most commonly used words. Check how it's pronounced and try to pronounce those words correctly. Most commonly used may lunch, dinner, table, car, college, very common kind of words, and then slowly you can try to expand the list of words. So this is something you can do, and watch English movies, listen to its pronunciation, listen to the way people pronounce. Some of your US presidents are wonderful, for example, yes? Why? I'm not audible? I'm doing the presentation now. I'm sorry.
No, now it is not visible, sir.
കണക്ഷൻ ഇങ്ങനെ പോയിട്ടുണ്ടോ? നോട്ട് വിസിബിൾ എന്ന് പറയുന്നു. നെറ്റ് പോയിട്ടൊന്നുമില്ലല്ലോ? കട്ടായിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു.
Joined yet? I hope that okay, sir is back. Okay.
Am I back? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Got broken in the middle.
No problem, sir. Please proceed, sir. We love you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. I'm here. So you can also watch movies, and the listening competence will help you. And as I said, you can listen to people like Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton. They are all good speakers, and they speak slow and wonderful to listen to, and their pronunciation can definitely influence the way we pronounce. Another one, volume issue. Students complain about my lack of volume, but I think I'm loud enough. So why do they complain? This is one question I got. If students complain, then there's a problem. Okay? Trust your students. They may complain a lot of things, maybe for the wrong reason, but they wouldn't complain about your lack of volume for the wrong reason. Let's hope. They complain about lack of volume. See, why don't you make, I don't know whether you will permit some of your colleagues to listen to your talk, your class. Check whether they have the same complaint, or is it your volume coming down when you talk to your students only? Students only? If so, there could be a problem with the confidence often. Our volumes sometimes get reduced when we are not confident about what we are saying. Right? So you need to work on the confidence factor and check, are you completely okay with yourself? Are you completely okay with your levels of preparation? And are you really satisfied with the content and the modes of delivery? That is one of the places where you should look for the answers. You should be audible, because when you lecture, audibility is central to comprehension. If you are not audible, they won't be able to understand what you're saying, to hear what you're saying, and only if they can hear you, they can listen to you. So check whether this is right with other classes, check whether this is right with your colleagues and all, and then work on the volume part. And if you have a low volume, you're that kind of a person, then where you stand in the class becomes important. You will have to move to the middle of the classroom rather than always standing at the front of the classroom, because if you stand at the front of the classroom, then the backside won't be able to listen to what you say. So try to work on some of those areas. Then, this is a very common question I come across. How can I become more fluent? Okay. The first thing I tell you is that I do not agree with the traditional definition of fluency or the popular definition of fluency. The popular definition often is that if you can speak continuously and if you can speak fast, you are fluent. I would like to disagree on that. I would like to say that if you're capable of communicating what you want to communicate in a clear manner, you should be called fluent. If there is too much of hesitation in between, if you so much struggle to find the right word, if the attention of the audience is on the struggle, then you may have to seriously work on it. Don't unnecessarily think on the speed factor. Forget it. Your scholarship can come out slow. Your scholarship can come out with occasional hesitation. That is fine, but do not measure against the standard yardstick and come to the conclusion that I pause in between, I use hesitation filler, so I'm not fluent. On the other side, as I said, why not have a regular practice of speaking for 2 minutes or 3 minutes in English and record it on your mobile phone? Do that continuously for a month and see the difference. Many of the people who complain about lack of fluency are the same people who do not continuously or regularly use English language. If you do not regularly use the language, how can you be very fluent? I don't get that. So the way out is to be a regular user of the language and improve the flow of the language. If you don't use it regularly, there is every possibility that when you try to use it occasionally, you struggle. So try to use it regularly whenever you get an occasion. So that it's kind of gets into your blood and it becomes natural for you to use. And please realize that it takes time. It takes a lot of time. Okay. So invest time and effort continuously, work hard, and then you will be capable of improving yourself. That everyday recording, maybe something about the movie you have watched, an article you have read, an experience you have had, try to record it for 2-3 minutes every day, and try to occasionally increase the length of the recording. Then obviously you will be capable of speaking longer and clearer with less stops in between. Well, I have already answered this one, so I jump over. This is regarding the body language part. Is something wrong in sitting and teaching? Sitting and teaching is a bit challenging job, because if you are in a PG class and if you have less number of students and they are all ready to be tuned to you, whether you sit or stand, occasionally you can. Personally, I would say that it's good if you can stand. Even in online recordings, they suggest that you should try to stand and talk, because that would make you more energetic and vibrant. And I'm doing this talk standing, as you can, if you haven't realized, that's what I'm doing. All right. So nothing wrong with that, but there is much you can gain in terms of body language, in terms of mobility, in terms of orienting yourself in different parts of the room available, and using your body to the best effect to deliver the content. All these opportunities are denied by yourself when you sit and teach. There will be great teachers who sit and teach. I have seen many, but they will have so much of scholarship, and we don't mind if they sit in one place. All right. Large class, I've told you. Yeah, my English is not good enough. I've done language training in Montessori classes. I've done it for faculty members like you. I've done it in schools. I've done it for leadership of one kind or another. And this is the most often repeated line you come across, that I feel my English is not good enough. And often you feel your English is not good enough, not because somebody has told you so, but you just feel that way. That is it. So you are the one who passed that certificate on you. Simply stating that my English is not good enough is not enough. You will have to come to the specifics of it. Probably you should talk to an expert and try to find out the gray areas. You try to find out what are the areas in which you would like to, you will have to improve. The other person has to say that. And when you get that actionable input, then you can try to improve in those areas. But I always tell my students that use whatever English you have, right? Sometimes a bit bad, a bit broken English is better than no English. You use whatever you have, and then gradually you can improve. Don't think that you will wait for the day when your English would be completely declared perfect and you would begin to use it. That is not possible. It has never happened anywhere. Okay, so use whatever you have. Commit those errors which you can. Let people spot those errors and tell you that there are errors, and then try to address those errors. This is what you can do. Confidence is built through practice over a period of time. People achieve it, and I'm sure you too can achieve. When the students are not interested, how can I effectively teach? Will they listen to me? Common situation. See, whoever told you that teaching is an easy job told you a white lie. Teaching is one of those most difficult jobs in the world. Very demanding. And if it is so demanding a job, then you will have to work hard to deliver your responsibilities. It is your responsibility to make them interested. They don't give you interesting students, I don't know. And all students may not be interesting to all. That too is a possible scenario. So it is up to you to explore and find out what makes you uninteresting for your students. And when you find those reasons, you need to work on it and try to be interesting. Of course, you cannot satisfy everyone, but still the onus, the responsibility is squarely on the shoulders of the teaching community, teachers, to find out ways of means of connecting to the learner and making your session interesting. Very, very challenging. But some people do that, and we need to work continuously for that. Yeah, this is something one person asked me a couple of years back. Okay, the person said that actually that I'm tall and he is not tall, and I'm able to perform better than him because I'm taller than him. See, your body is your body, right? There isn't much you can do. You can't put yourself in a machine and stretch from the four quarters so that you will become taller. No. But height has never been a relevant parameter when they evaluate your classes and all. Nobody said that he's a good teacher but he's short. No, not at all. So accept who you are, all right? And focus on what you can change. We shouldn't focus on things we cannot change. The students are not basically worried about your complexion or your looks department and all. Those are all basically external, not relevant to who you are as a teacher. But if you have a problem and if you think your lack of size is what is creating what is the difficulties of comprehension, then you need to check yourself out. That's what I say. So you can be short like a Napoleon, short like a Sachin Tendulkar, and still you can be very good in performance. So don't be worried about that too much. Some say that I prepare well, but when it comes to talking in the class, I struggle. Why is it so? I would say prepare better. And as I said, work on the practice part a lot. Keep practicing. I still do that. That's what I said. If I take around an hour and a half to drive home, sometimes I'll decide that, okay, 1 hour I'm going to deliver this lecture which I will be delivering tomorrow. And I'll be continuously talking. And sometimes when I go for a walk in the morning, 10-15 minutes, I talk to myself about a talk I have to do. So I can kind of see the thread of my thought and see how fluent is the thread of the thought and how I can connect it. Sometimes it will come out better through the practice. So practice. That's what I would suggest. Sometimes the problem can be if the students were not in the class, you can talk. If the students are present, you cannot talk. But if there are such teachers, then the online classes will be wonderful for them. You have no one in front of you. You can talk to a screen, and you can speak very fluently when you speak to a screen these days. I would say you need to practice a little bit. You need to take it a bit casually. Rather than try to memorize your lecture, go with the ideas and explain it in your way, with your examples, in your style. That should work. Yeah, I am not humorous. Is humor important? Humor is a very significant element of communication. If you are capable of humor, your classes would be much more interesting and engaging. Your presentations would be much stronger. Imagine a stand-up comedian as a teacher, or a teacher as a stand-up comedian. That would be incredibly good, I have felt often. Humor is an important element. But all of us are not humorous. If you don't have humor in you, don't try to cook it up. Don't try to act like you have humor. It will fall flat and it would be disaster. So if you have humor, use it. If you have a sense of humor, try to add it to your tools of communication when you deliver content in the classroom. But if you don't have it, skip it. Okay. serious teacher. All teachers should be serious, I would say. My time is at till 4:30, so I'll finish by 2, 4, 20, 25?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so all teachers must be serious, I know that. But see, if your seriousness, your serious demeanor, your very serious looks in the classroom, if it upsets communication, then you need to change. Even very recently, from one classroom, a couple of students told me that this particular teacher is so serious, we are scared when we sit in that class. And that will be a very depressing scenario for them, I have felt. So you can be serious about your job, but you could be relaxed in the way you do it. I'm not asking you to be humorous and jumping around with fun in the classroom and all that, but you should look friendly and accessible. You should be friendly and accessible. Students should feel like talking to you when necessary. The other kind of a stone wall of a face will shut communication away. So that kind of seriousness should be addressed and changed. Is dressing related to class delivery? I don't think so. I have taught in t-shirts for some 25 years. Okay, I still love my t-shirts. When I became principal, I had to change into a stiff formal shirts and all. But I don't think dressing casually is a problem, but certain institutions will have certain etiquettes, dress codes and all, so you'll have to follow. You should be comfortably dressed. That is what I would say, right?